Northern Illinois Huskies, the preseason favorites in the Mid-American Conference, and they've backed that up. 4 consecutive 194s up on the board. They bring that show on the road into Worthen Arena here in Muncie to take on a Ball State team that last time it was home just so happened to throw up a school record on the vaults. With that, we welcome you high atop Worthen Arena. The former All-MAC gymnast Sarah Ebeyer, Joel Gadet, glad to have you along with us. The big dog is in your house if you're Ball State today, but things seem to be starting to click for Joanna Salim's club, so it should be an exciting one between these two.
Absolutely. 2 teams here today. NIU ranked first, Ball State ranked 5th, but the margins are extremely close. This is a chance for the Ball State Cardinals to come together and prove themselves against the #1 team.
The narrative for Ball State all season has been its youth. For Northern Illinois, it's the experience, and that starts with the sisters Martucci.
Absolutely. You have a strong sister force here on the NIU team. You have Anna the senior, Nina the junior. Anna being first team All-MAC last year, 5-time Specialist of the Week, and last year's MAC Specialist of the Year. This girl's dynamic, she's powerful, and she has a sister along beside her competing today. It is exciting to see both of them come together for this NIU squad.
Sam Moriali, the head coach for Northern Illinois, said it's truly mesmerizing to watch Anna Martucci on the floor. A regional competitor a season ago, he said, hey, I'm running out of opportunities to see her compete as a senior, so he has to soak in each and every one of those. On the flip side for Ball State, so much youth, but also a 5th-year senior.
Jordan Penny is one of the most consistent gymnasts Ball State has ever seen. Granted her 5th year of competition at the end of last season, this team wasn't known really for her to be able to come back, and that gives you this automatic leader for such a young group of athletes.
It's Northern Illinois and Ball State. Mid-American Conference gymnastics action from East Central Indiana. Rotation number 1 coming your way next. Afternoon. Her day is done.
And
but
how
the work
interesting.
that's gone into it for her. Competed 1 time her first 2 years at Northern Illinois, battled through an ACL injury as a sophomore to come back and contribute, bars every single meet this season. And you'll hear this theme constantly, though, on Northern Illinois' squad. Just a good kid overall. Will graduate, go on to want to work in journalism. She actually is the social media reporter currently for their women's basketball team. Finds solace in the library. It's her favorite place to be.
How interesting is that? I mean, for a gymnast to say that, that's pretty remarkable. Also, just a nice kid overall. And, you know, you said you're only going to see her 1 time compete today, but that 1 time was starting off this entire meet for the Huskies. That's an important spot to hold.
It's also the DeKalb Public Library. It's not the university library. I'll give her credit.
Absolutely.
Get off campus a little bit. Here's Sid Finke for Ball State on vault.
One of the seniors here on the Cardinal team. She'll be competing a Yurchenko layout half. What a finish, a little step back there, but she saves it overall with a big finish. She had her shoulders back a little bit on the landing, was able to shift them forward, but needed that step to compensate for that. Still a little bit of a deduction, but overall, it is a good second performance for this team.
Take me inside that split second, and it seems like ages when you watch it in slow motion on the replay, but as you could see her fighting to hold that right foot from taking that cross step.
You know, with this vault, it is a blind landing, so sometimes you have to be prepared for anything. Like I said earlier, her shoulders were a little bit far back, and it may have been that they were too far back to really save it. So the best way to save it, with as minimal of deductions as possible, is just to take that small step backwards and salute real quickly to the judges.
9.85 you saw flash up in the bottom corner of your screen for that Arden Hudson vault. So how about the start, putting Hudson in the leadoff spot? That is a career high for her by more than a 10th.
Yeah, and it seems to be doing well having her in that spot.
Excuse me, by a 10th. Here's Allison Richardson on bars in the 2nd spot, following the 9.75 of Emily Bassaro. She fell last week on this apparatus.
Well, whatever she fell on, she clearly zoned in on it in practice, because that was a beautiful routine.
That's her best one in a couple of weeks. And when you can get good performances at the top of the lineup, it's gravy.
Absolutely, you can tell she felt good about that performance. That's going to help this team continue to build their excitement for today. A little hop there on the dismount, but you can tell she's in complete control.
Jordan Penny up next on the vault. 9.85 to lead things off for Arden Hudson. 9.8 for Sydney Finke. Okay, buckle your seatbelts, Cardinals fans. 4.9175 is the school record from 2 weeks ago.
They may just break that today.
I'd say if you're next up in the lineup, you have to think to yourself, well, don't screw this one up. But
absolutely. I mean, but you have a lot to build on right now.
Yeah.
Jordan Penny, the fifth-year senior, your Chinko full. Beautiful vault. We talked earlier, Joel, about her ability to help lead this team, and you just saw why. Her presentation and form of her gymnastics is almost mesmerizing to watch, and sometimes leading by example on the competition floor is the most impactful way to be a leader.
Jordan Penny is the ultimate leader by example.
Absolutely.
Quiet by nature, doesn't want to be that vocal rah-rah, but she's in the gym a lot of times by herself because of her class schedule in grad school, and it's those little habits when people see you making that extra effort that goes a long way. Jordan Penny, 9.8. Nothing south of a 9.8 on vault through 3 for Ball State.
And we've seen consistently this team is dynamic on vault. It's really where they are strong.
Here's Allie Ferber now, after a pair of 9.75s before her.
Blindfold right into her release move, a little crunchy on the catch, but overall saves it. Right into a bail for the high to low bar transition, and now looking at her dismount. A little short on the handstand there. Big double layout dismount, had a little bit of a slight leg separation there, a little bit of a hop on the end, but still a huge dismount for that third bar routine for NIU.
Did you use the word crunchy?
Crunchy, yeah, if you see, ooh, and just right there, if you see and you looked at it, she almost tapped her toes a little bit on that double layout dismount. But crunchy, yes, when she caught, she was a little bit close to that bar. So your arms, you're not in that full extended position, which really helps create swing, which is why she was a little short on that handstand going into the high to low bar transition.
Ferber's high this year is a 9.675 on bars. If she'd replicate that, she would be the droppable of their 3 scores thus far. 6 gymnasts will compete on each apparatus. The top 5 scores count. Marissa Nychek, formerly an all-arounder for Ball State. She will be again, but will compete everything but beam today.
Your Chico 1.5. You know what? That was kind of a crazy landing there, but overall, it's just because she has so much power.
Yep.
There's so much difficulty coming from a freshman gymnast, and yet you see no hesitation coming from her at all when she competes this vault. She's aggressive, she gets the height, she aims for the stuck landing. You know, Joel, sometimes gymnasts have a tendency to hold back in competition, and you don't see that at all from Marissa.
How do you harness that power? Because she hit it, but to maintain or to contain your momentum so that you don't spring forward.
It's really learning how to try to create a competition atmosphere when you go into your gym and practice. In practice, you can do the same exact skills, but a lot of times when you transfer those skills to the competition floor, you have adrenaline, you're excited, you feel the music, and sometimes that can create a lot of extra power. So a lot of times, coaches will try to create that in the gym by doing mock meets.
Yeah, well, she did pretty well, because even with the giant step at the end, it's a 9.65.
That's huge. That's huge. Huge Tkachev there on bars for NIU. Big bail, nice handstand.
It's the younger of the 2 Martucci sisters, Nina. Had a career high against Ball State on this apparatus a year ago, and she might have done it again.
You know, Nina was actually battling some injuries her first few years as a collegiate gymnast, but this is the one event she's really been able to contribute to NIU's team, scoring a 9.725 last week, looking to build on it this week. Looks like she did a good job.
How close to a stick is that?
You know, sometimes, you see this huge stick competition going on right now on a lot of social media. Some sticks are debatable, but it's really kind of the judge's perception of that, and you try to pull it off the best that you can. Big smile, big salute. You kind of leave it up to them.
Nobody saw that, right? Here's Maddie McDonald on vault for Ball State. Stephanie Schweikert, the freshman, off to the left is the anchor. Just 2 more to go.
Huge Yurchenko layout half from Maddie McDonald. A flawless landing for the Cardinals. I am continuously impressed with Maddie's ability to stay consistent with such a difficult vault that has a blind landing. She has the speed, she has the height, and she never ceases to have a strong landing. You can tell right there in her face, she is excited. She knows that was a good vault, and she is pumped to see her score for that vault.
The power that comes out of that young lady, for her size,
it's huge. It's like I said, it's mesmerizing. And she's continued to build herself and her power and strength since being a freshman on this team, now a junior. And you can tell the training she's done is really resulting in some phenomenal work.
It's a 9.8 for Maddie McDonald, which puts the team score at 48.9. The school record we kind of hinted you might have a shot at after the start is 4.9175. So Schweikert would have to crush in the anchor spot, and then you would drop the 9.6 from Nychek. Here's Amanda Bartomeo, a junior out of Minnesota.
Starting off her routine a little different. Release move there to high to low bar transition. Really a unique combination there. I like seeing Delchefs. You don't see them all the time. Big double layout, just a small movement there with her foot, but overall, what a beautiful routine. Not much deduction there for the judges to take. You see the little step back, but she controls it with a beautiful salute. She doesn't take anything other than that one small movement with her foot.
Start to get a feel on why Northern Illinois comes into this rated where the Huskies are.
And they've had to fight for that spot year after year. They kind of were ranked extremely low, but have built their way up. Last year coming second at MAC, this year being the hosts of MAC.
Their MAC championship score last year, a 195.875, second in school history. Wow. That gives you a good launching point. All right, here is Stephanie Schweikert, whose career high on vaults in just her freshman season is a 9.875.
Yurchenko layout half, little hop there on the end, but overall she showed control over her vault. Last week she actually competed first for this team and obviously did well enough that they put her in this anchor spot. They trust her. They know she knows this vault. They know she knows where she's at in the air, and they trust her to control it and end off this rotation well for the Cardinals.
If she can get a 9.7, you can get her team to a 49. It would be just the second time on any apparatus this year Ball State has eclipsed that number.
And it just proves why we've talked about this team being so strong on this event. Starting out here on vault, that's got to give you a good feeling.
It is Ball State's best event statistically. It's kind of got that feeling of being a floor team overall, but historically, vault this year is the one, and Schweikert does get a 9.75. That is a 49 flat for Ball State, and their second best event score on any apparatus so far this season. Here is Hooper. Sam Moriali raves about her on these bars.
Certainly a very powerful gymnast on this event. You can see she has a natural ability to swing. She uses the power from her swing to have a huge bar routine.
put a freshman in an anchor spot, like we just saw for Ball State, speaks volumes about what your coaches think of you. Look at this dismount.
A huge full in. Look at the control she shows on that event. I mean, that's massive. And like you said, I'm impressed by these freshmen coming in and holding such important positions for these teams and on the beginning events of a competition.
Ball State has a 2-10 lead through one rotation. Northern Illinois will go to vault. Ball State will go to beam next. This is Sandra El-Sadek exhibitioning. So this is for her benefit, although it will not benefit the team score today. She has competed vault this year, has been an all-arounder this year.
Overall, a good Yurchenko full. A slight step back there. She controls it by bringing her foot back in. Like you said, Joel, this is a good position for her. This helps her out. Exhibition spots, that's what they're meant for. Gymnasts can come out here, get the feel of a competition floor, know what it's like to have those nerves, to have a little bit of those jitters, and be able to channel that into their routine and their vaults. And you just saw that. She handled it very well. Beautiful vault.
We'll get one exhibition on bars for Northern Illinois as well. Each team is allowed one person to compete in exhibition on each apparatus, which gives you what? That real-time competition feel?
Absolutely.
Like
I
to get
said,
judged?
You train sometimes in practice, but you get used to that environment. You really don't know how you're going to control all of your skills under this type of pressure and with having this adrenaline that a meet atmosphere creates. So this helps these gymnasts get that feel and see how a judge would score them in competition.
If you're in the gym, you might say to yourself, that was a 9-9.
Exactly. And you know what? We talked kind of a little bit about there's a fight to get into a lineup spot. There's also a fight to get in an exhibition spot. This is just like competing. You're getting scored like you're competing. You have the audience like you're competing. This is an important role. You're trying to fight for a spot in lineup to prove yourself.
Update on the score with Hooper's total thrown in on the bars. Northern now puts up a 4-8-9, so there is a 1/10 difference after the first rotation.
Double layout, dismount, stuck landing there. You know, Joel, I'm impressed with these two teams. We talked earlier about, you know, Northern Illinois being ranked first, Ball State ranked 5th, but right now, there's not much separating these two teams.
It's anyone's conference, and that makes it interesting coming down the home stretch. 1/10 difference. Switch sides. Buckle up.
Yurchenko layout half. Now that was a good vault. I'm not sure where their scores came from because that was definitely better than a 9.5 or a 9.6 in my opinion. She's a little piked on the landing there, but you know, we've said this before, this is a blind landing. She controls it well, has a small hop, but overall, that was a good vault for NIU.
There's nothing too difficult, relatively speaking, about Northern's vaults. They don't have any 10-0 start values. The philosophy is, listen, do something clean, do it well, and get the points you can get instead of trying to drive a dirt bike up a mountain and do a 180 before landing and maybe missing it.
You know, and as a team, if you know that this is your weakest event, you don't have to have the biggest skills, the most powerful skills. If you're solid, you get down the runway and get to your feet with a clean vault, you can build on that.
Don't be Evel Knievel. Just be you. Would have been the easier way to say that. Here's Sandra El-Sadek. We'll see her on 2 events today. She has competed all around. Did in her first ever collegiate meet this year.
Tkachev into a pack, looking to land this full-out dismount. We've seen Sandra in the bar lineup since the beginning of season. Good dismount there. Chest was a little bit forward, which caused that step, but she's still controlling. You know, she's been kind of moved around in this bar lineup a little bit, but she adjusts to it very well. Clearly the coaches believe in her enough to move her around and know that she's not going to be affected by it.
What's moving you around in a lineup do?
You know, it kind of affects how you warm up. It affects the amount of time you have to prepare your mind before you get on the apparatus. You know, she easily could have said, no, I'm used to going after this one individual who I kind of know what to expect from them. It helps me feel better. But when you're confident in your gymnastics, you can allow your coaches to move you around, and that may benefit another one of your teammates who needs more time to breathe and get focused before getting on the apparatus, and maybe they need to be pushed back in lineup more.
Here is the younger Martucci. Nina Martucci is the junior.
We mentioned earlier her battle with a few injuries, her first few years really only coming out on bars, and now here we see her on vault. Ooh, a slight bend there and touch of the knee on that vault, but you know what, we mentioned this may be a weaker event for them, and she could be the one stepping up for her team here. You see a little bit crunchy off the table. She has a huge shoulder angle coming in to the table, which really took away a lot of her height to get her flip all the way around, which caused the knee to touch at the very end.
Did a good job to save it just from staying on your feet, that standpoint.
Absolutely, and you know, that's one out of the entire lineup, so they can still come back very well from that. You're allowed to have those little mess-ups, those little bobbles here and there, because out of the 6 people that really compete on that event, 5 of those scores are taken.
9.75 in the leadoff spot on vault. All-State received a 9.75 in its leadoff spot on bars and a 9.425 for Martucci. Here is Arden Hudson, whose score counted on vault today, and she said that was the big thing for her. When Ball State set the school record a couple of weeks ago, she scored a 9.725. That was the score that got dropped, and she said, I want to be counted next time.
Absolutely. I mean, you can tell she's focused on that. She has fire, and I like seeing that from these younger gymnasts. They want to help this team out, and when you focus on that, you focus on bettering yourself to help your team. That's overall how you have a strong competitive team. Good dismount there from Arden, a stuck landing. Beautiful control from such a tall gymnast, but uses her height to help her swing on this event.
And it's the event where the height can help you. This and beam, because you can show those lines.
Absolutely, you can tell she has these beautiful handstands, beautiful lines, really good toe point, and that is impressive to a judge. They like to see that grace on events such as bars and beam.
Started to grow in about 8th grade. Said she was normal height until then, but knew it was coming. Her mom is taller. Her mom's 5'10", 5'11". Her dad is low to mid 6 foot, 6'3", 6'4". So she figured she was going to spring up at some point and said, listen, when it hit, I became a twister, not a flipper, and it makes me different, it makes me unique.
It absolutely does, and you know, when you do grow as a gymnast, though, that's a huge adjustment. A lot of times you see kids go through that in club gymnastics. It completely changes your dynamic as a gymnast. You have to start realizing, hey, do the bars need to be further apart? Does my board need to be set back further on vault? How many springs do I need in that springboard? It impacts a lot, and if it happens in the middle of the season, it can really impact the gymnast mentally and physically. So it's something you have to be able to adjust to, and obviously she did a very good job of adjusting here, being a Ball State gymnast, and we just saw her compete on 2 events.
Well, we joke too, sometimes it's harder to find a Leo.
It is, you know, she's got a long torso. You never want to have wedgies in the middle of a competition, and that can sometimes be hard when you are that tall.
Here's Morgan Hooper. We saw her on bars, now on vaults.
A big vault. That's a difficult vault right there, a step back. I'm starting to see, you know, here they have the difficulty in vault, these NIU Huskies, and they're kind of letting a lot of these little tiny deductions build up. And so that's maybe why this is one of their weakest events. If they could really zone in on these tiny deductions, such as their landings, their entrances, the shoulder angle on the table, they really could improve their score and be a competitive team on this event.
What do you think causes that on this event, where maybe we don't see it on some others?
You know, it's really, I've talked about it before with vault, it is the entrance. It really comes down to technicality. Your entrance into the table. You have to have a strong round off, a strong punch on the board, really be able to pound that table to get that height off the table. you know, a lot of people focus on the last part of a vault, when in reality, the last part of it is a complete result from the very beginning. You have to train those basics to be a powerful vaulter.
One judge gave Maddie McDonald a 9-9 on her vault. Good start to her afternoon, now on bars.
Release move there, straight into the bail. Again, I use the word crunchy because right there she didn't have the full extended arms, yet she was able to save it. Beautiful handstand leading into her dismount. Big double layout. She is so powerful when it comes to that landing. You know, we saw such a good stick from her on vault, and clearly she carried it over here to her bar routine. Watch this dismount. Huge. She knows where she's at. She's solid in her feet and does not let them move as soon as they touch that mat. That makes her a competitive gymnast on this event.
She is Ball State's stick master, and I love the exuberance on her face too. As soon as she hit it, and she did it on vault too, the joy that rushes to her face, and it's almost like she forgets, okay, I have to salute now, but it's like, I stuck it, this is great. And the joy that then translates to her teammates is awesome.
You know, and it's crazy. I've trained with Maddie, and in the gym, she does it consistently. It's almost very rare to ever see her take a step on a landing, yet she has the same excitement every time she does it here in competition. It's like she knows to expect it, but when it happens, it seals the deal for her, and she knows she's done a good job for her team.
Gabby Welch on vault.
Yurchenko full, good landing there for the NIU Huskies. Just a small hop back. That's what I'm talking about. If you can get more vaults like that for this team, they could really build a strong vault squad. Huge height there, a slight separation there of the legs, but she squeezes them right back together, which allows for a strong finish.
It's their best vault of this rotation.
Absolutely, hands down, that definitely helped put them back on track.
9.875 for Maddie McDonald on that last bar routine. And a 9.8 on the vaults for Gabby Welch.
These two teams really are coming out, bringing all they got. You can tell they've had a few competitions to really mess with lineup, see how everyone's feeling, and right now they're kind of starting to find that sweet spot. Middle of the season, knowing what to expect from each gymnast, and it's pretty exciting to see it here in Northern Arena.
It's her second best vault of the year. Marissa Nychik now enters between the bars to start this routine.
The beautiful shaposh there. Big release right there from high to low bar and hits that handstand. Slight leg separation there, but overall beautiful. Has another big handstand leading into this dismount. Huge full out dismount. Clearly took notes from Maddie McDonald, the stick master, because right there, that dismount, she showed she knows what she's doing. Look at this. Boom, her feet don't move at all. Clearly Maddie had a little impact on her, and she wanted to go out there and do the same exact thing with the stick.
You know, you come out with a vault performance like Ball State had, and it's easy to, I mean, it's hard to go north from there, a 4.9. It's hard to maintain that. They've done that so far in their second rotation.
Absolutely they have. They clearly, it was like, hey, we did our job on vault, but you know what? We're not done yet. We still have a job to do on every other event. It's nice to see that they're not saying, hey, we got to do so good on vault because we're weaker here on bars and we have to make up for it. No, they're a strong competitor on both of these events, and they've shown it here today.
We await the score for Nychik, but that gets us through 4 competitors. You count 5 scores, 6 will compete. Ball State came out of rotation 1 with a 1/10 lead, and Nychik with a 9.825. So Ball State's lead has grown to 2/10 at this juncture. Amanda Bartomeo, the junior out of Minnesota, MAC champion on this apparatus a year ago.
And there's why she had a Yurchenko layout half. It was a little bit short of height there for my, impression. I'd say right there she was a little bit close to the yellow zone there. You can tell she was a little bit further back on the table than what she's used to, which kind of shot that layout half forward. You could tell she's used to having a little bit more height and time to land, which caused her to take that step forward because she had so much momentum shooting forward. But overall, you could tell she clearly is very used to doing this vault, and she lands it still decently well.
We'll talk about the yellow zone there for a little bit, because it even looked like, and you could tell the way that the trampoline moved as she hit it, maybe caught it a little bit deeper than she was expecting.
Absolutely. You know, there's a specific way you're supposed to hit the springboard that really helps you, like I said, with the entrance onto the table, with it being so important. You can be a little bit crooked here and there, which is why you have the zone around it, to help gymnasts stay safe. But at the same time, if you hit where the springs aren't located, it can really hurt your vault. Jordan Penny here on bars, beautiful bar worker. We've said it over and over. We've talked about her being the 5th-year senior. Look at the beautiful lines she has. We've talked about her consistency, and this is where you're gonna see it best. She comes out, she's the anchor on this event. Beautiful dismount there, stuck landing. That is 3 stuck dismounts in a row for the Ball State Cardinals. Looking at that bar routine, if I'm putting myself in the position of a judge, I don't know where I'm finding any deduction. It's almost non-existent.
What did 3 stuck landings in a row do for you?
I mean, in a competition, like we said, it comes down, especially with a team that, you know, they're really going up against the #1 team in the MAC. You have to fight for every single 10th you get, and a lot of times that comes from your landings. Each and every one of those landings was flawless. A judge can't take on a stuck landing. It's beautiful. So right now, if they're sticking their landings, and we saw some uneasy landings from NIU on vault, that could be where Ball State really takes a lead over this NIU team.
9.875 for Jordan Penny. My gut tells me she got a 9.9 from one judge on that.
Absolutely. I don't see how. I mean, if I was a judge, I'd give her a 9.9.
Cindy Lamberti.
Your Chico full. That was pretty good. She had her chest down a little bit on that landing. You could tell it was a little bit unexpected why she had a hop forward. But overall, salutes, smiles. That was a good vault. Right here on the entry, you know, what I see from her, arms aren't fully by her ears in that entrance when it comes to the hurdle. And sometimes that can cause a little bit of your round-off to be crooked. And then we get into the whole thing about talking about being on the zone here and there. So that could contribute to why she had to take that hop at the end. But overall, that was a good Yurchenko full.
Competed at the MAC Championships on vault a year ago. Came in 7th, which on face value you might say 7th, but everyone in the MAC is competing.
Absolutely, that's a tough title to fight into, and you know, NIU, I'm seeing difficulty in their vaults. We talked about it. It's just those tiny tenths they really need to fight for. Those landings, the heights, the shoulder angles. That's what I'm seeing as their biggest weakness on vault. It's not the skills, it's the little tiny deductions.
Second anchor spot for Stephanie Schweikert here this afternoon. 9.75, finishing off on vaults. Maybe did it again.
That was huge. They clearly have focused on this in the gym, because I have seen it transition here on the competition floor. That was beautiful. She may not have the biggest routine, but hey, that release move she had was big. A little bit crooked coming out of the blind full there, but she adjusted and was still able to stick that dismount.
If you're Joanna Salim, how can you not gush with the youth of this team? And she's even got more freshmen that probably would be in the lineup, but are dealing with some injuries right now as well. I mean, the present is pretty good for Ball State. The future looks awesome.
You know, and this kind of goes back to what we talked about. You have some very prominent seniors on this Ball State team, one of them being a 5th-year senior, Jordan Penny. We talked about her being a leader, and when you have so many freshmen on a team, well, you can't tell they're freshmen out here right now, can you, Joel? They are consistent. They're out here, they're having fun. You can tell they aren't so nervous. They aren't focused so hard on that. That could come from leadership.
exhibition on vault here for Northern Illinois.
A Yurchenko layout half, bent knees there a little bit, but that landing was beautiful. If she could focus a little bit on those tight legs, I could easily see that being a gorgeous vault in lineup.
Sim Morreale speaks so much about their competition that, hey, if you're 7, 8, 9 in the lineup, you can earn your way into being anywhere from 1 to 6.
Yeah.
They want to scrap and claw for lineup spots.
You know, and we talked about the exhibition spot. That's not something to take lightly. That is a chance to prove yourself and really show what you can do in lineup. And she did that right there on vault. She had a little bit of those loose legs on the board when she took off, which kind of caused a little bit of that bend. But overall, she adjusted in the air, which can be hard to do because it happens in a split second. So right there, she could have proved herself to be in lineup.
Now let's talk about getting some people back from injury. The future could be bright for Ball State. Not a freshman, she's a sophomore. But hello, Claudio Goico. Coming back from injury and getting a spot in exhibition here this afternoon. So good on floor, mainly a year ago.
You know, one of the things that shines brightest about this gymnast is her personality. I don't think there's a single person on the team that doesn't get along well with her. She has a fun personality. She's here for the team, whether it be in lineup or, you know, in injury. Sometimes the best way to be there for your team is being that person that comes up and gives you high fives and talks to you before your routine. And she's been that person, and now it's her team's turn to do it for her while she's here in exhibition. Beautiful routine, good double layout, let go a little bit early, but overall, that was good for an exhibition spot, and that's gonna make her feel good building her way back into this team as a sophomore.
Just feels good to do it again.
Absolutely. And on the competition floor.
So Goico finishes things off for Ball State in exhibition. A 9.82 for the Cardinals. They've been awesome with a 4.9125 on bars.
A lot of times when you have difficulties, such as things with family members that come up, sometimes the gym can really be a place where you can work that out. You're always in the gym. It's a consistent thing that you know happens in your routine. And sometimes, like you said, that is your happy place. That's where she feels the most at home, is with her team and out here on the competition floor. You see her finish that routine off beautifully. So she had a beautiful front tuck there in the routine and finished it off with a gorgeous dismount. So overall, she minimized the deductions after the fall that she had early on.
Back to Paige Nicholas, who competes back-to-back events here, exhibitioning on vault and leading off on floor.
Big double pike there to start off the routine.
Basic requirements here, 3 passes, leaps. You have to touch the floor with something other than your feet at some point in time. Dance elements as well. And show your personality.
Yep, right there in the second pass, you had a front full front layout. You didn't even see her do a front handspring into the front full, which is why she didn't have to back all the way into the corner to start that routine, because it is a shorter pass and she's not too worried about going out of bounds. You know, Joel, and this is some of my favorite parts of the competition, is really when these two teams go to their last events and to see how they fight against each other to really see what team's gonna pull out the win today. Double back there, beautiful landing for her last pass. Ball State with a fall on their first routine on beam. Huge floor for NIU. Ball State's gonna have to answer to that, coming back over here to the balance beam.
Menzioni with a 9.275 on beam for Ball State. Nicholas likely put up a good starting score on floor with that one. And Sandra El-Sadek heads up for her second event today. Second of 3.
You know, and Sandra's in a really important position here for her team, mainly for the fact we talked about Menzioni did have a fall. So Sandra's got to get up there and be able to get her team back on track. They need a solid routine here, one that stays on the balance beam to keep the momentum going for this Cardinal team.
And she's back on beam, did not compete this event last week.
Good save there. I think she knows her team needs this. Back handspring, lay out, step out. You can tell she was off a little bit with her chest, which caused it to lean forward, but she was able to compensate that and stay on the beam. She's here to fight for the team, and that is so nice to know about your teammates when you're on the floor, that they're out there fighting for this team to pull out a win.
That was an incredible save.
It was beautiful, and it really helps the entire team know, hey, let's get this fighting attitude because we're not out of this competition. Good save to that entire routine. Menzioni still scoring up in the 9s, so with a fall, still a good score if you have to take it. It's in the 9s. You never really want to drop down as the 8s, so they can continue to build on this floor, on this beam exercise.
Well, we said Nicholas was going to score well. She does. A 9.85 in the opening spot on floor. And here's Tara Korfmel. Could be an all-arounder as her career progresses, just a freshman. We've seen her on 2 events here this afternoon.
Big double pike there. Both the NIU gymnasts that have competed so far have been very well thought out with their landings, not giving up anything at all. So this may be the one event that they really can make up for a little bit of those hops and checks here on vault. Beautiful lead pass. Heading into the second pass there, very nicely done.
You're seeing the strength of Northern Illinois here on the floor. Their season high is a 4.9375. That is a school record. They did it against Bowling Green and UIC in a tri-meet. Everyone scored a 9.825 or better.
That's big. That's big scoring. You know what? We just saw the same passes in the second routine as we did the first routine. We talked about it on vault. You don't always have to have the biggest skills, the most dynamic skills. You just have to have clean skills. And that could be how this team is putting up such big scores on this event. Same passes, but yet the dance was different. The personality of the gymnast was different. And the landings were beautiful.
Well, the thing Sam Morreale said, too, is they came in ready in the fall. So it wasn't working skill necessarily in practice, it was fine-tuning. So that what they did well, and working on their endurance so that they could do it well tired, which on floor is key.
You know, and that's kind of how a lot of times these juniors and seniors have such a big advantage coming in. They know the skills that they want to compete. They already have them. So when you come in at the beginning of the season, you're just fine-tuning and fighting for every one of those little deductions and making sure you have the biggest score you possibly can get. Arden here on beam. We've seen a few balance checks, but I told you there is fight in these gymnasts. She had a balance check on the series. She had a little balance check there on the leap, but she's not giving it up to the judges. You saw her foot slip off there. We're seeing a little bit more of this dismount come out in the gymnast, the aerial dismount. You saw her kind of fight for her footwork there. She really tried to pull it out, but overall she couldn't get her feet on the beam to the point where she could get enough height to really finish that twist at the end.
So Ball State will take a hit on beam. Alsadic with a 9.525. Menzioni was a 9.2. So they're going to have to count something they do not want to, or a couple they do not want to, on beam.
And we've talked about it in the past. That's why if you fall on beam, it's so important to get up and finish as well as you possibly can, because there are times where you have to take a routine that had a fall. A little different of a first pass than what we've seen the past 2 routines from NIU.
This is the marvelous Miss Ferber here. Anytime somebody throws out a little Hava Nagila for a floor routine, I'm in. Ferber is back from an ACL injury. Hurt it in the lead up to the first meet a year ago. She was supposed to compete bars, floor, and vault, and had a bad landing practicing on floor. Right before the first meet. Had to fight through that, battle back, and has had a phenomenal senior season
and
as a bio major with a chem minor.
Well, to see her compete on the event that she got injured on.
Yeah.
She's not holding back at all. You can tell that's not a mental block for this gymnast in any way. Round off, double back. Again, their landings are very, very good. So here, this is why they're a dynamic team on the floor exercise.
How about Kofmel with a 9-9, just ahead of that. And that's going to score very well as well. Northern Illinois may have just competed themselves. Northern Illinois has just competed itself back into this thing from a head-to-head standpoint. Now Rachel Benoit, who gets her first crack at an event today.
Triple series there. She misses the foot on the last flip. I'm starting to see this team get a little bit jittery on this event.
Struggled on beam this year. Statistically, it's their worst event, 61st in the country. What thread is there? What do you see that is something that maybe holds them back a little bit, or is something that's correctable or mental?
You know, what's so crazy about beam itself, it really is an event that can make or break a team. It is the event that most likely is the most mental event for teams. Right here, what makes Rachel so good is the way she tops off her routine with a big dismount. That is a round off double back. You don't see that much in the MAC conference, and she does it so well. She has power, she has grace, and she makes it look effortless. If she would have stayed on that beam with that triple series, the difficulty in that routine is remarkable.
You can almost see in her face how much it angered her that she got that at the end, because I did that so well, but.
You know, and that happens a lot. It's so hard when you have, amazing warm-ups. You know you've hit it a million times in practice, and when you come out here, and this is really when it counts, and you make those mistakes, it is hard not to get angry at yourself. And I think she also knows her team needed her to hit that routine.
Here's Allison Richardson. Nursing major, wants to be a neonatal nurse. And we talked about this a couple of times earlier, shifting practice times. She has to come in at goofy hours to practice, doesn't practice on Tuesdays. And Northern does a good job with that, because they will shift people who have flexible schedules to practice with her or with others that have to come in at the gym at other times. So you're never in there alone.
You know, when we talk about these gymnasts out here, they are student athletes. And a lot of these coaches, they really zone in on the fact that you are a student before you are an athlete. And when you get to be a junior and a senior in a lot of these majors, you do have to make adjustments to your practice schedule to work out those last few classes you have to take. So it does kind of throw in the interesting dynamic when there may be some of these girls you don't practice with on a daily basis, yet they're sitting here watching you perform a routine that they don't always see in the gym every day. But to see their excitement still for it, you can tell that they just have a good team environment. That's how you build a team, you know, on the bus rides to competitions, in the hotel rooms. That's how you kind of create that unit when you're not always with each other at practice.
9.85 by Ferber before that. This is going to be a massive number on floor as long as Northern Illinois keeps it up. Here is Volpe. And this is her only event. It is her expertise. A freshman as the penultimate routine on beam.
You know, and we're really kind of looking for that expertise to shine here for the Cardinal team, as they've had a few falls the last few routines that they've thrown up on beam. Series here. Beautiful series. You know, I asked earlier Caitlin Menzioni to describe Lauren's beam in one word, and she used the word elegant to describe this beam. And I love it because it is elegant, but it's also powerful. You saw in that landing there on the series, she was a little bit off, but she was still sharp with the finish. Jumps here, a little bit of a shoulder check. As you could see, when she landed, her shoulders were a little bit behind her, which caused her to have to readjust, caused her to pick up that foot a little bit, but overall, she brought it back together and stayed on the beam. That's what the Cardinals are trying to do right now, is stay on the beam. There's that aerial foal that Arden was looking for. She does it very well. She stuck it. They needed that routine on the balance beam.
Brings them back a little bit. Benoit had an 8-9-7-5 just before, so that becomes the droppable score. And Ball State will need everything it can get to then pull up the 9-2 and 9-5. They will have to count.
Big double layout to start off this floor. You know, we've talked about the last few floor teams have been powerful, and to see these floor teams continue to build in difficulty and power, that's why they're ranked #1. That was a double layout as your first pass. So not only do you have such a difficult first pass, but she's got to now build off of that throughout the rest of her routine, and she did the double layout so well and with ease.
Amanda Bartomeo started as a floor vault specialist, has competed everything at Northern Illinois, but she was a power gymnast when she came in.
Front layout, front full there. You could tell she took a few little steps there, surprised herself a little bit. You know, a lot of times when you say they're a power gymnast, a lot of times their best attribute is doing double backs, double pikes, double layouts. And so sometimes the most challenging thing is tumbling forward for a gymnast that has a lot of power. Looking for the last pass here. Big double back, look at the landing. She's able to jump out of it. Big ending for the NIU Huskies on floor. They just continue to build.
They're going to put up something in the high 4.8s, maybe even crack a 4.9 on floor. Ball State just trying to get to a 48 on beam and salvage what started as a potentially school record-breaking day.
You know, and this is where Jordan Penny can really show her expertise as a fifth-year senior. This is the third and final event we will see Penny perform on here in Worthen Arena. We mentioned earlier Jordan's ability to lead as an example for this Cardinal team, and this is where she needs to shine, considering the falls that they've had early on.
How unforgiving is this beam? That's 4 inches and it's not soft.
You know, when you fall on beam, you usually fall pretty big. It's not like you can on floor where, you know, sometimes you go step out of bounds, you can throw it back together, you can kind of cover it up a little bit. Beam, there's no covering it up. You're either on the balance beam or you're not. And that can be really harsh sometimes, and that's why this event makes or breaks a team in competition. Round off, 1.5 twist. I told you her consistency is unmatched with this team. 3 events back to back to back. She's been consistent, she's been beautiful, she's been very strong for this team.
So Penny and Volpe save beam for Ball State, but now sit back and relax. This is Anna Martucci, first team all-conference and the specialist of the year in the league a season ago because of what you're about to see in the next 90 seconds.
Big double pike there. Like I said, her landings are gorgeous. And not only is the tumbling gorgeous, but just starting off the routine with the fierceness in her eyes, the sharpness in her dance, she's confident. Huge tumbling there. Front pass, the height on that is incredible for forward tumbling. She knows where her body is at in the air. She has great awareness of what she needs to do. And you can tell, she knows she's at a spot where she can be sassy and really fierce in the dance, which all around adds to the overall performance on floor. You can't just have the tumbling passes, you have to have the presentation as well.
It is her presentation. It's the way she draws you in. Her coaches say, listen, the skills are not the hardest in the world. She just does them better and makes you want to watch.
She does. She absolutely draws your attention. We were in here for warm-ups, and she was just doing her dance, and I immediately caught my eye drawn to her because of her confidence in that dance. Beautiful finish, her last pass, double back. She knows that was a good routine. that is why she's so dynamic on this event.
That's going to score huge for Anna Martucci.
Not only was there minimal deductions throughout the tumbling passes, but the dance. It's almost like you're so connected with her by her eyes, you're not even looking down at her feet to see if she's taking little balance checks anywhere.
Her career high is a 9.975, which means she was almost perfect at some point in her career on floor, on multiple points in her career on floor. This is an exhibition routine for the freshman Nychek.
Again, with the shoulder check there a little bit, her shoulders were behind her body, which caused her to have that little balance error, but saved it. Dismount there, ends up falling down, touching her hand, and not completely finishing the dismount. This has been a hard event for the Cardinals today, and they're really gonna have to pull it together and honestly, to finish off strong on floor. They cannot let what happened on beam affect them.
This got a 9.95 for Anna Martucci.
That is huge and so hard to do as a gymnast, but as we were watching her routine, I told you I'm not seeing many deductions at all. She deserved that 9.95.
This is an exhibition routine to top it off by Gabby Welch.
Exhibition, but double layout? You can see it's an exhibition. I mean, it's got to be hard to fight for a position in this NIU floor lineup because it's so dynamic. So her coming out here and throwing a double layout, if that eventually earns its way into the lineup, I can't imagine how more competitive this team would be on this event.
Northern Illinois broke the school record today on floor by a ton. 4.9425 is their final. That beats the school record by 5/10.
I can't even imagine what score they dropped.
Excuse me, 500s. I got really excited. 5/10 would be immaculate.
That would be incredible. I think they'd probably just say, we're done for the day.
Yeah, we'll go home.
But certainly this team is going to have a fun bus ride back because this event right here is putting them on the map.
So Welch finishes off an exhibition, and with the 500th school record on floor, math was never usually a strong suit. Northern has also jumped into the lead overall in the meet. Ball State puts up a 47.325, a 47.325 on the balance beam. But it's known for its work on floor. The gauntlet's been laid down, though, by the Huskies.
The outcome of today, they still need to throw up big scores because overall that can help them individually qualify to regionals, and that's the overall goal, right? So this team needs to keep it together to still be powerful on floor and do what they've been doing the past several weeks.
Catherine Biddle to lead it off on beam.
Series there with a back handspring layout, a little bit of a bobble check there, but pulls it together very nicely. Beautiful full turn, no deductions there on the full turn. I will say NIU is a team that plays around on the beam. You can see here it's not just get on, get your skills done, and get off. Their gymnasts are comfortable enough on the beam that they can play around with cool dance and choreography. Beautiful leap there. The jumps were gorgeous. Her footwork was flawless, so no taking deductions there. Here for the dismount. Again, the aerial full, a slight hop back. Beautiful first routine on beam.
Flattery will get you everywhere on beam, too.
It will.
If you have the ability to do some upper level skills or some unique skills, it's a separator.
It is, and it really impresses the judges, and they like to see gymnasts that are really confident on that event.
Maddie McDonald now, a junior out of Ole, Pennsylvania.
leading off the team here on the floor exercise, going for this first pass. A big double pike. That had huge height, a flawless landing. You know, we called her the stick master earlier, and that really doesn't count her out here on floor either. That was a beautiful finish. Working her way into the floor lineup of this Cardinal team. We've talked about how strong they've been on floor. So coming in as a freshman, not competing floor, working her way into the lineup, that was a difficult challenge for her, and she didn't back away from it. Right there, a little bit of a crazy turn there on the second pass. You could tell she was a little bit out of control, but at the same time pulled it off, and that's what counts.
Well, that's a new pass for her, too. No front tumbling because of an injury back in high school, so you have some workarounds on floor a little bit.
Absolutely, and we talked about her. Clearly, she doesn't back away from a challenge because she worked her way into this lineup. And right here, not only is she working her way into the lineup, but with new passes. Last pass here, round off, double back, beautiful finish. You can tell she's very confident in her back tumbling landings. Finishes off wonderfully. There she goes with that smile and excitement again. Good start for this Cardinal team, and they needed that coming from their performance on the balance beam.
She's had a great day. Phenomenal day for Maddie McDonald. 9.85, 9.875 on her first two events. See what the third is. Here's Anna Martucci, who's got to be feeling great after the 9.95 on floor.
Beautiful series there. You know, for her, it's got to be hard not to come off the floor and be like, all right, I'm done for the day. That was phenomenal. How do you top that? And wait a minute, you have to get back into the crazy mind. And she was last on floor for her team and yet had to jump over really quick to beam and is the second up. That's a very quick transition. It shows her mental toughness and being able to adjust very quickly to what event she's on.
The way she performed on floor translates on beam, too. There is a rigidity to her movements that is beautiful, and the way she sells everything she does.
I told you she draws your eyes in, and that's by her fierce, sharp movements there. You can tell not only is she confident in her skills, but in her dancing. It's not just, I'm putting my arm here. She flicks her arms from here to there. She's got sharp arms. She knows where to look. She looks at her teammates. She looks at the judges. She makes eye contact. That's what draws you into that gymnast.
Moves with a purpose.
Absolutely.
Second up on floor is the powerful Rachel Benoit for Ball State.
And sometimes it's kind of funny because she almost looks a little bit surprised by her power sometimes. You know, training floor, you know, starting as a freshman. We saw her power on beam with the round off double back dismount. And now we're going to see her power here on floor as well. Round off back handspring, double pike. Like I said, she does it with ease. It looks like she's not even trying, and yet she's way in the air and has so much power, it floats the entire skill down to the floor. Second pass there. You know, one thing that I always say, not only can you learn from your teammates, you can learn from teammates on another team as well. Something Rachel could really take from what we just saw on beam is the sharp dance, drawing the entire audience in. She could really look at that and see how it's a huge tool when coming out on the competition floor. Going into the last pass here, round up back handspring, double back, a little kind of forward on that landing there, but overall, she still had a ton of power. She still let it float down to the ground. Good finish for Rachel.
Here's Hooper on beam. She's had a busy day. This is her third event. And when you compete 3 events for Northern Illinois, or all around for Northern Illinois, of which no one will do today, it speaks volumes because of this team's depth.
You know, and it's interesting because we just saw a different series than what we've seen today. Layout. That shows that she knows what she's doing. You can see her skills are way different than what we've seen from every other gymnast today. And like you said, that draws the judges' attention and it makes you stand out. So although she had a fall earlier, if she can continue to work on these skills in the gym and come out and perform them to perfection, this routine has the potential to grab attention, to throw up a big score, and be a really competitive aspect for this team on beam. Dismount here, round up, 1.5, sticks the landing, so clearly gets back up with confidence after the fall and finishes very well.
That could push for Hooper's season and also career high as a freshman. 9.725 was her prior best on beam. Although the fall, kick myself on that one. She might kick herself on that one too. That's one of those things where when you fall, you say to yourself, what could have been on an event? Because you come back up and finish it so strongly.
Exactly, and you look at it and you say, oh, I kind of did all my other skills to such perfection that the one main thing that I really messed up on, like what could have happened if I would have stayed on that balance beam? And that's hard, especially finishing the meet on that. She knows she really could have finished off today strong without that fall.
Similar to Benoit, the way that she finished with an awesome dismount after falling.
But it also helps you zone in on what you need to go into the gym thinking about next time you come in to train. The Cardinals cheer on their teammate here on floor. That helps get their, excitement up a little bit on this event because they do perform it so well. And, they had a few falls there on beam, and overall, they look like they're not letting that affect them here on the floor exercise. Front handspring Rudy there. Good routine for the Cardinals. Overall, looking to build their momentum as they're here on the floor, get that team spirit back up. It's always a wonderful feeling after you finish your routine on the last event of the day and be able to put your sweatpants back on and say, oh, I did what I came out here to do today. I did it well. There's a few things I can focus on, but it's always a good feeling saying, all right, I'm done for today. Let's focus on what we can work on for next competition.
Allison Richardson now on beam.
I'm loving the confidence and the difficulty I see from the Huskies here on beam. They've been known for their exciting beam, and right here it's just because of the little choreography that's different, that stands out, and that shows that their gymnasts have confidence on this beam. They've consistently taken girls on their team to the regionals because of their beam work, and really when you shine on beam, you shine as a team.
Still waiting on all the beam scores for NIU.
Right there, another different skill that we haven't seen today. Back handspring into a 1.5 twist for a dismount.
We do have a handful of the Ball State scores on floor. 9.8 from Nijek, 8.25 from McDonald, a 6.75 from Benoit. Alsonic has probably the most personality of anybody that Ball State will put forward on the floor today.
And her team knows that. They know that she is a character, and it doesn't change when she's on the competition floor. It almost comes out even more. We've talked about how important it is to have character. She draws the crowd in and the judges in by her personality, just like we've seen from some of the NIU gymnasts. She does it very well, and it's natural to her. She's a freshman. She wasn't taught how to do that. It's part of who she is.
It's like Martucci in that she dances, she moves
right.
with a purpose.
Absolutely. And to be able to do that with your dance, it shows that you're so confident in your skills that they're almost a side thought. Her main focus right now is the way she dances. Round up back handspring, double back there, a little short on the landing, but overall, you kind of forget about it when you're watching her dance because she's having so much fun out there, and she does her dance so well. And it's one of those that you don't notice that dance is such a huge thing on floor until you see someone do it so well, just like Sandra.
The best thing about when you watch Alsada compete on floor two, the way she finishes lying down, if you look at her face, because it's not immediately readily available to the judges, you can just see this exasperated, okay, I'm done. And then she gets back up and looks happy.
You know, some of the hardest things is, you know, like I said before that last pass, you are trying to smile, top off what you've done, but yet breathe. You're trying to breathe for that last pass. And so sometimes as soon as you get off that floor, that's all you want to do is breathe. Front tuck there on beam. Beautifully done, I may say so myself. The height was gorgeous there. She certainly didn't hold back. Good leap pass there. The footwork on beam is what I'm really seeing here from NIU. Every single step they take has purpose.
Every move that they make,
yes,
you'll be watching them.
Their dance, it flows, it has confidence right there. Just that little tiny sass in her dance shows. It shows their confidence. Overall, beautiful dismount, and it shows that their confidence is building throughout their routine. They're used to doing this in the gym, and they have no problem translating out to the competition floor.
That is the penultimate routine on beam. Here it is on floor with Sydney Finke. She rivals Sandra Elsadik in the spunk department.
Such a small body, but so much happiness and excitement coming from it.
9.825 for Elsadik just before this. That is a career high for the freshman.
Beautiful first pass for Sydney Finke, and she's gonna play on that. You can tell every pass she does on the floor, she builds off of it. Her excitement grows. You know, for me, when I was competing before that last pass, I was struggling to get smiles on my face because I was breathing. For her, it's almost like she gets more strength and more power throughout her entire routine. Getting ready for her second pass here. Rudy layout step out, beautiful finish. Good straight legs on that layout step out too. You know, that can be such a hard pass to compete sometimes too, because if the Rudy is off, it can really throw that layout step out off. And it's hard to keep those legs super straight, so you have to make sure your punch out of the Rudy is really, really, really well to make sure that layout step out comes with no deductions. Beautiful slide step out there. She had so much power. I told you earlier, it's almost like she gets more excited and more power throughout the entire routine. And that shows right there, the last pass. She had so much power. She ended up stepping out of bounds.
That routine was so perfect until the very end.
It was. And here we are on beam. NIU again with such intricate detail. To get up on the beam that way, most gymnasts would say, all right, I'm just stepping up and I'm getting up and I'm going to make sure I get to my skills. She's like, I know my skills are so good, I'm going to play around with my mount.
Listen, Mia Lord only does one thing. She's going to get it all in on this beam.
Exactly. She's like, I'm here to shine. I've been waiting all day for my moment right here on beam. Full turn there. Which is funny. She gets up on the beam in such an intricate way, and then you have the full turn where she has a slight bobble, and she almost kind of surprises herself a little bit there.
A sheep jump. She does have a triple flight series coming up as well.
Which is interesting that it's kind of towards the end of her routine. Most people throw it in at the very beginning, you know, get up there and get it done as soon as possible. Double full dismount. You don't see that often in college anymore, simply for the fact of a lot of people just do the 1.5. They're kind of ranked the same, but yet when you see someone that obviously is very strong in this event and knows how to twist well, double full, she's like, no problem, I've got this.
So Lord is, or has, capped off the day for Northern Illinois. And it's Menzioni to do the same for Ball State.
You know, a lot of these Cardinals have finished their entire competition here today. Either, you know, their last event being the last one that they've done, or, you know, she's at the end of the lineup. So a lot of these girls have done their last event and put on their sweatpants, and she still has to stay focused in her mind saying, nope, I still have a job to do. I may be one of the last ones, but I still have to compete. A very powerful performer for the Ball State Cardinals here on floor. Caitlin Menzioni getting ready for her first pass. Big full in. Look at that landing. She doesn't even let her feet move 1 inch, one tiny little centimeter. There was nothing there. Front layout, front full again. Beautiful. I love the smile I'm seeing from Menzioni. You know, her last event on beam, she did have a fall, and you can tell it's not holding her back at all here on this event because she knows this is where she shines. She knows she's the anchor for this team on the event, and she's ready to have some fun. We said this was kind of her comfort zone. This is her playground here, and I'm sure having past few weeks that were not her normal, she's ready to be back to normal right now, and this is her normal.
It's almost that this is freeing for her to be out here doing what she loves.
Huge double back to end the routine. Beautiful routine for Caitlin Menzioni. And you know what's crazy is even after her last pass, most people fall to the floor and say, oh, I'm done. Give me my score. Yet she still does a back tuck to end the routine.
That's got a shot. If she scores high enough to give Ball State a 49 on floor. This is an exhibition routine on beam. Ball State had put up a 49 on one apparatus all year. It was vault for the school record 2 weeks ago. And it does. Menzioni a 9.925. Ball State puts up 3 49s here this afternoon and a season best 194.6.
And you know what? The Cardinals may not come out with the win today, but to be able to say we're building on all of these tiny little victories that we had today, because starting off today, beautiful vault, beautiful bars. They fell apart a little bit on beam, but overall, looking at 3 of the 4 events, they had a good day today.
Well, here's the thing, and this is where one slip up can hurt you. Northern Illinois is going to win today, the 109.57. It was beat on 3 of the events.
Absolutely.
Ball State's slip-ups on beam took away the head-to-head win. Probably also the school record, definitely the school record. Ball State set the school record today, if not for the falls on beam. It was that good everywhere else. And that, I think, in some ways encourages you because you know what you have to work on, but B, you're just going to kick yourself until you get back out here at Pittsburgh on Friday.
You know, and next time they see this team is going to be at the MAC Championship. We talked about NIU here on vault. You know, it wasn't their strongest event, but we talked about just throw up a few solid 9.7s. And that's kind of what Ball State needs to look to do on beat. A fun routine here for the Cardinals to finish off on.
This is the second exhibition today for Claudia Goico, coming back from injury. The 49.075 on floor for Ball State. This is how good Ball State is at floor. That is 13th in school history. So they're going to put up 13th, 3rd, and 4th in school history on 3 different events.
I talked earlier that they really shine on this event, mainly because of their dance. And you see it right here. She's having fun. It's different. A little hip hop, a little sass. It fits her personality. She's feeling it. It's what gives her the confidence to go out there and play with her teammates. Look, this is the event where you get to play with your attendees here today in Northern and with your team. And she does it so well. Double pike to finish off the routine there. Look at her. She is feeling it. She knows all eyes are on her right now as the last performer.
And it's even playing like she was looking lost on the floor, and you can see the judge smile.
I love everything about that. She has so much fun being out there to perform. You could tell She's like, hey, I know I've got these tumbling passes. I'm here to show off my dance moves and have some fun. And I love the way she carries that out with her floor.
Northern Illinois wins today, 195.7, but both teams throw up their season-high scores. Scores that they hope will count as they both try to get to a regional.